Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's doing great. I am super excited for this video. I have some products from Bornpretty to share with you guys that I know y'all are going to absolutely love. This is a 6-piece nude set from Bornpretty, and each bottle is a 10 milliliter bottle or 0.34 fluid ounces. The amazing thing about a nude collection is those are perfect all year round, and these are going to be amazing with any skin tone as well. You're going to get your base application, your cover colors, and you're also going to be able to do some nail art with these. Another nice thing that Bornpretty likes to include is little reminders, contact information. They also give you step-by-steps on how to prep and apply. They will even tell you the proper steps for removal as well with their products. Now these gel polishes need to cure under a UV LED lamp from anywhere from 30 to 120 seconds. For me, with the lamp that I own, these only take 60 seconds to fully cure. Now each one of these colors is absolutely gorgeous. A thing I love about Bornpretty's polishes is that the coverage is amazing. The application is amazing. I don't have any odor. I don't get any streaking from these products. And a lot of these are actually one coat application, but I do recommend for full coverage with a lot of applications to go ahead and do that second coat. Some products, depending on the color, you may actually need 3 coats if you really want to build up a certain level of opacity, but it really depends on how sheer that product actually is. This collection is not sheer at all, as you're going to see in a moment when I go to swatch these, but I'm just going through each color. There are 6 different colors. They're all labeled Bornpretty CC01 through 06, and I'm showing them to you all on the screen. I'm going to recap each and every one of them with you guys after I get these swatched out, but I just want to go through and show you each color. Now, I do recommend to shake and stir each one of your gel polishes before you use them. I have not done that yet with these bottles. I took them right out of the package to show them to you guys. But before I apply these to the swatch sticks, they will be shaken and stirred. So I'm going to start with the darkest one first. This is going to be the BPCC06. And I'm just going to show you the application for this gel on the swatch stick, just to show you what it's going to look like with one coat of coverage and how quickly and easily this product applies to the swatch stick and how it's going to apply to the nail bed. Each swatch is going to be cured in my UV LED lamp for 60 seconds. That way I can show you guys what they look like with a 60-second cure, as well as the one coat of application. Now that I'm done applying that, I am just simply going to wipe the bottom of my swatch stick off with a lint-free wipe, and in the lamp it goes. Here are all the colors. Check out this collection and the range of colors. This is going to be beautiful for all skin tones. It's going to be great for your clients as well. You're going to be able to offer them more options with these cover colors, and all of these nudes are just absolutely stunning. I'm just going to pick them up and show them to you up close to the camera. Now, I did not wipe these off either. I left them as they are. I did not top coat these either because I wanted you to see what the actual gel looked like with that one coat of application. And here they are right up in front of the camera. You can see how smooth. I'm touching the surface of them just to show you guys they are not tacky at all. And this is what they're going to look like with a matte top coat on them as well, which is also very lovely. So I'm going to stick these down here, and I'm going to go back over the colors with you guys really quickly before we get into the nail designs we're going to do today. So I did put them out of place, but I do correct it before I show it to you. So the first one is the 06, that's the darkest. The next one we are looking at is CC05. And the next one we're looking at is the CC04. So when we get into 04 and 03, these really remind me of foundation colors more than anything. Then we get down to the CC02, and the last one is this beautiful, very opaque white, which is the CC01. So that is all the colors. We've reviewed them for you guys, and we're going to get right into doing some nail designs. So I'm going to get these designs started off with the 03 and the 01. I'm going to use this 03 as my base application for all my nails, and the 01 is going to be my accent color. I have my full cover stilettos prepped, and I'm ready to start doing my base application. These stiletto tips are full covered structured tips in extra long, and these are going to be a perfect size for today's palette to do these nail designs on. I'm also only going to use one coat of this 03 for my base application. I was getting just the right amount of coverage and I was satisfied with it, and I'm going to do designs over these. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the application on these stilettos off camera. That way we can get right into these nail designs. I just wanted to show you how quick and beautiful the application was on my full cover tips for you guys. And this is how it turned out. And this is the way these nails are looking. There is no top coat. There's no tacky surface. I absolutely love them. These are amazing. I love this color. It is super gorgeous. So I'm ready to go ahead and get started. I have my palette ready and I'm going to start putting some of this 01, this beautiful white down. I need a good little amount of this to get this design started on the middle finger. I'm also going to need this for the ring finger design as well. So and once I'm satisfied with the amount I've got down on my palette, I'm going to get my brushes out. I'm using my brushes from Nails by Nicole J. And I'm going to use my striping brush to get this design started. I'm just going to roll it in there. I don't want a big heavy bead or a drip from the end of my brush. I also don't want it all the way up to the ferrule of the brush either. So I'm just dragging it through to get the design started. I'm just going to put the base shape of my design down first. Then I'm going to be able to go back and fill it in and bring those lines in. It's just a little bit quicker to go ahead and start by putting the general shape on the nail first. Then I'll be able to tweak it and get it just the way that I want it. Now, before I tweak my lines, after I get the general shape of where I want my lines to be, I'm actually going to get out my bottle of gel polish. I'm going to use that to fill in the negative spaces around to save me some time instead of drawing that gel polish out with a striping brush, which isn't going to be very quick and simple. I'm just going to use the brush from my gel polish. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's why my general shape is there, because it's actually going to come in a lot tighter than where it's at. So I can go ahead and apply that gel polish on the outside edges. And it doesn't matter if I mess those lines up or not, because I'm going to go back in and straighten those lines up and get them just the way I want to. Now the gel polish that I've applied to fill in those spaces is going to level out. And when it does, it's going to be heavier around the outside edge where I have applied it. So I will have to go back and wipe at the base of my full cover tip to remove any excess gel that there is. So I'm just going to keep going around my points and drawing them in till I get them nice and balanced. I get that star shape that I want. I also want to make sure that I can balance that design onto the other nail to mirror this one. So I want to make sure that my points of my star are not too wide, especially at the top of the star where it's going to meet the opposite side and at the base. So I'm going to pull my other nail down and kind of look at it for a second so I can imagine that shape being on there. That's actually going to help me to tweak the design on my first nail, because I'm going to see what it's going to kind of look like in my mind when I do the other half of the star. I want to make sure that my points are not too wide, that my top point of my star is narrow enough to when it matches up to the other side, it still looks like a star. I'm going to remove that excess gel from the side that's leveled down. I don't want to have that built up there when I go to cure it, as well as touching up around the outside edges to make sure that I've got full coverage all the way to the edge, all the way around. Then I will go back in and continue to touch up my lines just a little bit. I did have a spot that I really think was a little too wide when I started to look at it, and I went over that a second time to remove any excess gel that's on that outside edge. But once I get this point right here nice and straight, it looked a little too wide at the top. I will be ready to stick this in the lamp and cure this out for 60 seconds so I can move forward with this design. And I think this is going to look super cute. I'm loving the star. So in the lamp it goes, and this is what it looks like completely cured. I'm actually going to do the other side really quickly off camera for you guys. And here it is. This is both sides done, and I really love the way it turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the design on the middle finger on camera for you guys. I'm going to use these gels from Bornpretty, these BP WC01 and WC02. 01 is just a super gorgeous red polish, and 02 is the prettiest glitter red polish that I have ever seen. These are going to look super beautiful with these other Bornpretty polishes. So I'm just putting just enough down on my palette to go ahead and do the design on the first nail. I'm actually going to incorporate another product as well later on with this nail design. So I'm going to start with the 01, just the regular red, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting some stripes across the nail. I'm going to work my way down the nail. I want these to be a little bit at an angle. So I do speed the process up for you guys just a little bit, because I do like to take my time. Sometimes when I'm doing lines, I want to try to keep them as even apart as possible, as straight as possible, and making sure I get those lines to go all the way to the outer edge of my nail. So I'm going to be alternating between the red and then the glitter red gel polish all the way down the nail. I decided to do it that way so I can make sure I keep my spacing as close as possible, especially since that star design is coming over and cutting into the nail. It can kind of throw you off just a little bit. So I decided to do it this way. That way I could keep them as even from each other as I wanted them to be, and I didn't end up trying to skip ahead to put just the red where I wanted it and then realize that I didn't have the same length of gap between both of those colors. So I'm just going to wipe my brush off on my blue towel in between, just rolling it to remove that glitter polish. If a little bit of that glitter gets into my regular red polish, it's not a big deal. You're not really going to notice it, but I did want that little bit of extra sparkle on the nail. That's why I decided to use both of these products side by side with each other. These red gels are so pretty. They're so bright and happy. They just really make this nail design it just makes me smile. I just love it. Especially this red glitter polish, just the way it looks by itself. It is gorgeous. So I am about done putting these alternating colors on there. And the only thing I'm going to do is make sure that I get application all the way to the edges of my star, all the way to the edges of my full cover tip. And once that's done, I'm going to cure this out in the lamp for 60 seconds. Here it is fully cured. Now I'm going to go in and add some gold. Gold is really going to make this design pop, and I just love gold. It makes everything so super pretty. So I'm going to use a pixie gel from Botino in gold and my striping brush, and I'm just going to go in and start adding these gold lines in between all the red lines to really start to bring this nail design together. Now I love to work with these pixie gels. They are super gorgeous. I like to make sure I stir them really well before I use them. I do usually use a heavier application with them than I would a gel polish because of the glitter. It can come up really choppy sometimes if you use too super thin of an application. So I don't want it dripping off my brush, but I want it thick on my brush so when I apply it, I get full coverage. I don't have any patchiness from the gel where the glitter didn't hit, because that can happen. So stirring it up is also going to help with that process to make sure that you have a nice even layer of that gold sparkle throughout every bit of your application. So I will sometimes go back and touch up those lines with the pixie gel, but I usually don't have to unless I applied it really, really thin and I got some kind of patchiness. But I try to avoid that situation by putting it on just a little heavier. So I'm almost done adding the gold accent lines. I will go and check them over when I get finished to make sure I don't need to touch up any of my application. But oh my gosh, this gold and red and white together is such a beautiful combination for a design. I absolutely love these colors together. They look so beautiful together. So once I get done with those, I'm actually going to go in and frame the inside of my star with that pixie gel as well. That's going to help separate it from the rest of the nail design, and it's also going to make that star pop out a lot stronger on the nail as well. I'm applying the pixie gel on the inside of the line so I don't disrupt any of my line work or mess up any of the points that I've put onto my star. I'm also trying to make sure I use a thick enough application, that way I don't have any patchiness while I frame the star in either. Once I am done and I'm satisfied with this application, I'm going to stick this nail in the lamp and cure this for 60 seconds. That's going to completely cure my pixie gel, and I'll be ready to go ahead and top coat the nail. I'm using a non-wipe shiny top coat for these nails, and I'm going to start from the inside of the star and move my way out so I don't spread any of that shimmer around on the nail. I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds, and here is what the nail looks like done. Here are both nails together, and here are both nails finished. I love the way these turned out. I did the second one off camera for you guys, but I cannot wait to get this set of nails done. I also cannot wait to wear these. They are so freaking gorgeous. So now that I've done shown you the designs that I did for the middle and the ring finger, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the index finger. Well, I'm going to use one of these nudes that really just looks like milk chocolate. And I'm going to put a nice little healthy dollop of that down onto my palette. I'm going to use one of my larger dotting tools to kind of scoop a little bit of that up and start to place that down on the nail. It's going to help me mark the nail center of my design. And I'm going to be able just to use that gel to spread it around with my mini striper brush. So I'm just going to keep putting little dabs of it on there until I get a nice healthy amount. Now that I have enough gel on the nail, I can go ahead and start spreading it around. So I'm creating a gingerbread person. I want it to be kind of wide so I could put some details on it. I also need to keep it centered in the nail and try to drag it down a little bit so it's going to fill in the most part of the middle of the nail. I want it to go close to the edges, but I don't want it to go all the way to the edges, so I can add some little touches of detail there as well. For the next couple minutes or so, I am going to skip ahead through building the shape, curing it. I'm going to matte top coat it. I'm going to come back and do some outlining and thicken that up. I'm going to matte top coat it again and then start to add some details. Every coat that I'm putting on here, I'm going to cure in the lamp for 60 seconds. So I'm going to play a little bit of music for a few minutes while we get through this portion of the application. I hope you guys enjoy. hope you guys enjoyed the application and the music. And now that we have our base down, it's time to start adding some details. I'm going to go in with a dotting tool and put in some eyes. Next, I'm going to take my really ultra fine detailer brush and I'm going to add in some eyelashes. So I decided I wanted to make a gingerbread girl and not just a regular gingerbread person. So I'm going to create some eyelashes to give it more of a cute little feminine look and really help the design pop on the nail as a gingerbread girl. And I'm just going over, I drew out the lines, but I just went back over them a little bit to draw them out a little thicker so the little eyelashes would stand out a little bit stronger on the nail. So this is how the eyes turned out. I really like them. I think they're really cute. I went ahead and flash cured them for 30 seconds. I want to take that dotting tool and a little bit of white and add just a little bit of highlight into the eyes. And then once I get done adding in the highlight, I'm going to take some of that red glitter and the dotting tool and add in a little nose on the face of the gingerbread. I'm going to use the regular red polish to create a little smile using this detail brush and just taking my time to start in with the center and work my way up into a U shape on the face. Next, when I get done with that, I'm going to add some buttons to the front. I want to use the gold because I think it really pops. So I'm just going to use the dotting tool with a nice little generous amount of that pixie gel and just put 3 little buttons down the center of my gingerbread girl. Next, I want to add a bow, and I'm going to use the glitter polish to do that. And the mini striper, I'm just going to take 2 little dollops of the glitter gel polish and put them right there on the top. And I'm going to use my brush to spread that around so I can get that into the shape that I want it. Once I get the bow completed, I'm actually going to put this in the lamp and cure this out for 60 seconds. I'm going to use the gold pixie gel again to accent the bow. I'm just going to put a nice little dab right in the middle of that with my dotting tool. Then I'm going to flash cure that in the lamp for 30 seconds so I can move on and complete the nail design before I do another full cure. I'm going to go ahead and use the white to create the icing stripes on the arms and legs. But I want to do a second stripe with the red gel polish, just the plain red gel polish as well to help tie in the red accents of the nail. Once I'm done with the white, I'm going to flash cure those in the lamp for 30 seconds so they don't move on me. And then I'll go in and start adding in the red. Once I get all the red in there, I will go ahead and do a full cure. Next, I'm going to take that detailer brush and this white gel polish, and I'm actually going to go in and add some little dots around the outside, the outline, to create almost kind of like a stitch pattern on the gingerbread. It took me a couple minutes to get this accent done on the nail because it was so tiny and this outside border was really, really small. So I had to work with very, very small amounts of the white gel polish to get it right there inside of those lines. Since it took a couple minutes to do it, I only show one side of the nail in the video, and I'm going to skip forward to the entire nail being done once I do this side because I wanted to keep the video a little bit shorter for you guys, but I just wanted to show this application so you could see what it was that I was doing and how I created that little bit of a stitch line around the outside of my gingerbread girl. Once I finished all of that detail, I went ahead and cured it for 60 seconds, and then I came back with the pixie gel again in my dotting tool. I'm putting a nice little generous dab of that on the nail in a couple places. I'm going to take my detailer brush and I'm going to spread that out and create some little gold stars. I thought about using nail sequins or nail charms to put stars on the nails, but I really wasn't feeling anything that I had, so I just decided to go ahead and use the pixie gel to create them. I love working with it, and also it just helps tie the nails together by using it to create the stars instead. So I spent a couple minutes just making sure all my points were even and my lines were straight. And once I got finished with the second one, I just decided to go ahead and start adding a few more accents. I didn't want all that empty space, so I kind of got happy with my dotting tool and these red gels. I decided to use the glitter red because it was just so pretty and I love that glitter, and put some red dots around on the nail just to make it a lot more festive and to fill in all that empty space. I just put them in a lot of different random places on the nail because I wanted to go back in and fill in the other spaces with that gold pixie gel just to bring it all together and completely fill in the nail. I wanted to make it as sparkly and pretty as I possibly could without just painting the whole nail like red and gold, which I could do because I think red and gold are such a beautiful combination. So when I get finished, I am going to cure this out in the lamp again for 60 seconds. Then I'm going to come back in and top coat this. I'm going to use a non-wipe top coat that's going to give me a glossy finish. And once I get done applying that, I'm going to cure that in a lamp again for 60 seconds. And this nail design is going to be done. And this is how it turned out. It is so super cute. And now it's time to move on to our next nail. I am going to go ahead and get started on the pinky nail next. For the pinky nail, I wanted to tie the set together just a little bit. So I decided to make some gingerbread candy cane shapes. Since I have the gingerbread girl and I also have that candy cane pattern on the middle finger and the ring finger, I thought this would just be a good little design to go ahead and do on the pinky. The pinky is a small nail, so I'm going to try to fit 3 different candy canes in here, and I'm going to spread the gel polish out. They don't have to be perfect because I'm going to put designs on the inside of them, and I'm also going to kind of frame them in. So I'm going to go ahead and get all 3 of these put onto the nail. Then I'm going to cure this out in the lamp for 60 seconds. And when I get done, I'm actually going to go ahead and matte top coat these. I have enjoyed making this set of nails so far. I love the holiday season. I love all the little accents and details. I love the colors and all the little goodies. And cookies are definitely one of my favorite treats to have during the holidays. Candy canes as well. I just love the taste of mint. Now, I love traditional candy canes. They're definitely my favorite. There's a lot of options with candy canes these days. You can get them in all kinds of different flavors, but I absolutely love the traditional candy canes. So getting back to the pinky nail, I've already put my base shapes down and cured those for 60 seconds. I'm matte top coating that. That's also going to be cured for 60 seconds. Now I'm going in with a little bit darker color, same one I used to outline the gingerbread girl with, and I'm just going to outline the candy canes. I'm actually going to cover this outline with the gold pixie gel, but I want to go ahead and put this down so I can see my lines a little clearer when I go to put the pixie gel in. Also, it's going to help to widen out the candy cane shape just a little bit, kind of give me a little bit of a guideline. I'm going to just show the application of this line on the first shape. Then I will skip forward to having all of them completed. That way you guys could just get the general idea of what it was I was doing and why I was doing it. This actually was not necessary at all. I could have just bypassed this step. But since this was such a small design on this little bitty nail, I wanted to put those in there so I could see it a little clearer. And this is what they look like fully cured. Now I'm going to go in and start to put alternating lines of white and red. I'm just going to show the application on the first candy cane, but I'm actually going to top coat these, and I'm going to go back in and darken up all of these lines. I'm just kind of putting them down, but they're kind of faint right now. They're not really popping right now at the moment. So to make them pop a little bit more, I'll actually matte top coat the nail and go over all the lines again just to richen them up so you can really see the white and red stripes down the candy cane. But I also want to make sure that that brown shows through, that nude color shows through. That way it still kind of looks like a candy cane gingerbread cookie. So now that I've matte top coated that and cured that again for 60 seconds, I'm just going back over. I'm just going to show you going over and touching up all my lines on the first candy cane. This just took an extra couple minutes of my time to do this little extra detail, and it really helps those colors to pop up a little bit better, tracing back over my original lines. Once I get all the candy canes done again for a second time, I will cure that again in the lamp for 60 seconds. Now I'm going to go around with that gold pixie gel around that outside line that I created and just trace over that with the pixie gel. I'm trying to make sure that I don't take it out too far because I don't want it to run into the outline on the candy cane below it. Also, I want to make sure they use a thick enough application so I don't have any patchiness. I don't want to have to go over any of these lines, but I also don't want it to be too heavy because I don't want it to spread out. I want to make sure that I can get it fully cured because when I go to top coat it, I don't want to spread any of that shimmer around onto the nail and ruin my design. So once I'm satisfied with my lines on all three candy canes and have a nice border going around the outside of them, I will cure this in the lamp for 60 seconds. Then I will be able to come back and top coat it with a shiny no wipe top coat. This is what it looks like right now with all the border done. And I'm going to go ahead and add in a top coat from Votino, his Shine It top coat, and that's going to seal everything in. So this is what the nail looks like fully cured and the design is completed. So now it's time to finish out this set and start on the design for the thumbnail. So for the thumbnail, I decided I was going to do some bling to add a little bling into this set. And I'm taking that red glitter gel, that's such beautiful red, and I'm just going to make a little bit of a tip at the bottom of the nail. I'm just going to kind of shift it from side to side to get my lines drawn up. It's a little crooked right now at the moment, but I will straighten that out before I'm completely done with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my baseline in there. That way I'll be able to draw it up on both sides to get it a lot more even. This is a little bit of a longer nail, and I could have took this up just a little bit higher, but at the time I didn't know how far down my bling placement was going to go. I'm also going to accent this once I cure this in the lamp for 60 seconds. I'm going to accent this red with a nice line of that gold pixie gel across it to kind of top it off. Then I'm going to go in and start placing down my bling gel for my bling placement. I'm going to use Markartt's. I love using Markartt. I get great results with that. I like to flash cure that in place when I do use it. It's a few seconds and my bling is locked into place. And then when I get done doing my bling placement, I always put it into the lamp and do a full cure. But I like being able to have a flashlight, a UV flashlight that allows me to flash cure my sets into place when I do them. That way nothing's going to move on me as I continue to build out my bling placement. So I've put a nice little healthy dollop of my Markartt down on my palette, and I'm just going to use my dotting tool to start placing it down on the nail where I know my bling is going to go. I want to make sure I have a good enough amount on there to hold my bling onto the nail without it popping off, but not so much that I end up with it all over the place. I find that a dotting tool works best for me when I do bling placement like this. If I was doing bling down the entire nail or was using some really heavy pieces, I would do my application pretty differently. But the pieces I'm using today are really lightweight. They're not really high up on the nail from the side, so they're not going to be snagging my hair or getting caught on things very easily. So for the bling design, I wanted to go with red, white, and gold because those are the colors I've got in the set. So I'm using caviar beads and flat pearls and these red crystals, these rhinestones, and little red AB crystals to do the bling set on this nail. The most part for me is with the bling placement is just repositioning everything. That way when it's time to flash cure it, everything is right where I want it to be. With the Markartt, it works great, but sometimes the bling will kind of slide around on you just a little bit as you're putting it down and putting other pieces in. So always make sure you go back and straighten everything out before you flash cure it, because once that light hits it, it's going to freeze it into place and you're not going to be able to readjust it or do any of that with it. So I will take the time to keep readjusting before I do that process. That way I know everything is right where I want it to be, because if I mess up, the only thing I can do is take the bling off and buff everything down, remove all that glue, and start over. So to avoid that situation, I just try to get it right the first time, at least the best way that I possibly can. So since I was satisfied with that placement, I went ahead and flash cured that with my little mini flashy light. And now I'm going to go in and start adding some more rhinestone glue from Markartt. I do put it a little bit too thick around this flat back, so I do take my brush and kind of draw it in and draw it down a little bit, because I don't want it to level out and be all over that portion of the nail, because I'm not going to put that much there. I'm just going to come in and put a couple AB crystals on each side, and then a couple more caviar beads. Then I'm just going to continue to work down the nail, bring in those pearls, caviar beads, and I'm going to use another flat back rhinestone to finish out the bottom of the design. Then there's going to come a portion of time where I guess I thought I was filming and I'd either had my camera paused or something, so I kind of skip through. You'll miss a little bit of the application with the Markartt, but I do continue to apply it down the nail as I need to. For a couple spots, I just use my dotting tool to put a little dollop where it needs to go. I'm going to complete most of the rest of the bling application before I flash cure it into place, because it's just kind of a straight line down the nail. The most time that I spent with the lower portion of the bling placement was getting this flat back right where I wanted it to be. And then I did, go in, add more caviar beads and another flat back pearl. And then I decided after that to go ahead and flash cure it, because that rhinestone right there in the middle was a little bit heavier, and it was, wanting to kind of push my caviar beads and my pearl down the nail just a little bit. So I went ahead and flash cured that before I decided to go ahead and finish it out. I'm only going to add a couple more caviar beads and one last little red AB crystal to the nail, and I was satisfied once I put those in there. I like the way my bling layout looked, and I thought it was just going to look perfect just the way it was on the nail. So that's all I decided to do to the rest of it. That way it kind of stopped before my gold line does there. It just gave a little bit of space. But like I said earlier, I kind of wished I would have taken that red glitter up just a little higher with that gold accent. I still love the way this turned out. I think it is super pretty. So I'm done with my bling placement and everything is fully cured out. I'm going to go ahead and top coat this with my non-wipe top coat. I'm going to keep it nice and thicker around the edges of my bling to help lock it into place. I don't go over my bling with top coat. I know some people do, but I prefer not to. Once this is fully cured for 60 seconds, I'm going to go in with a lint-free wipe and give this a nice gentle scrub. That way I can remove any dust or smudges from my wax picker tool and make sure everything is nice and clean and shiny. Once I get done with this, I'm going to show you guys what this entire set looks like together. Then I'm going to get these on my hands. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you enjoyed these nail designs. I look forward to doing more holiday nail designs for you guys all the way through December. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys.